Welcome to the Cameo Show. Today we are joined by Greg, my trusty co-host. Greg, do you have a dad joke for us today?
Ooh, I am not prepared. I do not
Oh, no. All right, well, we'll skip over that because we have an extra special guest today with us, Miss Jolie Glassman, whom we met recently when we visited the South Beach Boxing Gym in Miami. Hi, Jolie. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we are elated. And what we expected when we walked into your gym was to get a great workout while we were on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We're like totally nerding out on training and boxing and learning all of the things. And it was like, we have to go there. What we didn't expect was coming away with a connection to you that was just like such a magnetic energy that you bring to conversation and to your space and obviously to your gym. So we're just so pumped to have you and kind of like reconnect in that way where we had limited time then and jump into learning more about you, your gym, your books. Jolie is an author, she is a coach, and she is the owner of South Beach Boxing. And overall, like I said, a magnetic energy, your main goal seems to be helping people connect with themselves and transform their life. So whether that's through your coaching, through your gym, just your presence, that's what you bring. So thank you again for being here.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was really great to captivate that and capture that. And thank you. I appreciate your words. That's sweet. I took it all in.
Yeah, it's like you should celebrate what somebody new in your life has to say about you, you know?
Oh my God, I do. I cry every day.
Yeah.
I cry every day. Like I even have a tear in my eye. Every day, I think I'm going to tell, every day I cry. I get people like you that come in my gym over and over and over again and tell me how great it is, how great I am, how great they are. Everyone's talking about how great whatever everything is. And how amazing is that? There's no greatness in the space.
I love it. And your gym definitely captures greatness.
Yeah.
You walk in and I have goosebumps just thinking about walking up those stairs and into the gym and the atmosphere that you've created with your team, the members. I mean, just overall, the experience was just such a welcoming, fun, hardworking environment. It was amazing. So can't say enough great things about that. And you're right. Hearing that every day, probably.
I mean, imagine having a mission and every minute you're meeting your mission and every minute you're getting, you know, that like you're in the right place and that you accomplished everything you set out to just by feedback, which is the best information you can ever get. So it's too much. I always say, if I can ask anyone a question, it would be like how Tony Robbins calms down at the end of the night. Now I actually can answer it because I know how to calm down through all my work. But it's like, how do you deal with that much joy? It's a lot of joy to come down from, and people are amazing. And I love to show people how great they are and move people out of their own way. So when you have people moved out of their own way and just being themselves and knowing they're great, it's not an arrogance, it's a knowing, and it's a confidence, and it's a contribution, knowing that they are contributing, they are making a difference. And I love that space.
And I love the way that you just said that, because I feel like so many people walking around worried about being what you just said, arrogant or unsure. And so just letting people know that they're great and kind of marinate in their own greatness in and of itself. You don't have to do anything. Just
exactly. Well, that's what I love teaching people, how to own your own power, how to be fully self-expressed and self-reliant, right? In mind, body, and spirit, and know that you could speak up and not be rude, and you can speak up and not be arrogant, and you can always get your point across and be powerful in your space. And if anyone can't handle it, they're just intimidated. You're not intimidating. As long as you do come from a place of love and you do own your own power, then they're like, I want that. I want what that person's doing, you know, and then that's how you build your community.
Yes. So
Nice.
Can we back up a little bit and talk about how that all started for you? So what I know is very limited. I know that you've owned your gym since 1998. And what you shared with us when we were there visiting was a little bit of your personal story. But if we can start there, I feel like there's so much to learn from you just in your own personal experience. And that's what this is all about every single time.
Well, and I'm going to speak in a way where it adds value, and I'm not just telling you my story, because who cares about my story unless it relates to the person listening, and really to empower people to make a choice. It's funny when people go, oh, you're so inspiring. And then I go, well, what action did you take? Because I don't want to just be inspiring and then it dies out. I want to know you actually changed your life. I love when people are like, ever since I met you, I don't eat this, or ever since I met you, like, I love change work. So I want to know that like people listening get value, or they're like, I can do that too, or I can be like that as well. So God is good all the time. And I'm not a religious person, and I say, but because my favorite line is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And I just always, everyone is called. Everyone is called to do something, even if it's to rake leaves. But when they follow the calling of whatever's in their heart and they do what they love, I say in my book, God is like a rose petal thrower, and he puts the rose down right when you're ready to step up and not a second before. So it's like how to handle the hardest thing in life is that tug of war that needs to be a lighter pull and push of surrender and intentionality, or holding on and letting go. It was fun. I was meditating yesterday thinking, wow, this is such a, not a battle, because you don't battle in it, but it's such hold on, let go, hold on, let go, hold on, let go. It's so elusive. You have to like, just when you're holding on, you got to let go, and knowing when to hold on and knowing when to let go. So the start was not so wisdom filled like that. I didn't know when to hold them and know when to fold them. I ran away young. My mom was very abusive, but did the best she could. She didn't drink or do drugs. And I made sure to not damn her in my books, because she did the best she could. No drugs and no like men. She wasn't a whore, but she just verbally abused us and physically abused us. And it was hard to grow up in that. And then my dad died when I was a baby, and she put us in like the best neighborhoods. So it almost, nothing would have been better. It's perfect the way it was, because I am who I am. And it would have been nice, like, to be around kids that had the same kind of treatment that I had, but everyone was so spoiled and I was the one always getting beat. So it was like that type of environment. So I ran away young. And then I ended up teaching in jails and lockdowns. I don't know if you knew that part. And I was supposed to be a doctor. So my first degree was chemistry. And then I was like, oh my God, if I go to med school, I have another 4 years. I need to get out of my house. I don't want to live at home. I need to finish quick. So it was really out of desperation. And I thought it was laziness, but when you stay in action and you stay intentional and true to your soul and your heart, and you don't sell yourself out and you keep doing the work, I needed to just get out. So it was desperation, but I wanted to finish. I didn't want to be like, I have a chemistry degree. There's nothing to do with a chemistry degree if you don't finish.
Sure.
So I went into the North Campus, and my lazy side was like, I was bratty. It's actually, your good qualities or your bad qualities. And it's like how to sharpen your best tools. And I always knew to ask for what I want. It wasn't always finesse, and it wasn't always beautiful. That's why I like teaching people how to get what you want, because it would come across sometimes rude, or sometimes I'd blow up, or I waited, right? Because timing's everything. So I waited, I didn't know how to say it. Then I'd blow up, and I was a brat, and I'm the baby child, and I had to get my way. And where it worked was like, I was like, I need to finish. I need to get out. I need a degree quick. So I always said what I wanted, and I got it quick. So they were like, we have a 2-year scholarship program in the college, whatever the room is, guidance counselor. And it's 2 years, you teach free, and it's in inner cities only. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll take it. I didn't even know. For me, I heard drive to North Campus, finish school quick. So teaching was, and in the moments I did talk to my mom, that like broke her heart that I was going to be a teacher. I was supposed to be a doctor. So that was like terrible to become a teacher. And it's still, I mean, it's my heart and my soul. It is terrible to work for the system, which then broadcasted my whole life. So I got that I am this fighter and I am this disruptor. And it was very clear to me that I do fight for a cause. So being in the jails and being in the lockdowns and teaching in these type of schools for so long, I got to see the world unfolding as it is now, where the kids were starting to line up for their meds, and they were on the Adderall and on the Ritalin. And then the schools were graded on an A to F. And then if they didn't get an A school, they were kicked out. And if you didn't give them A's and B's, they were the pay was. So I started to see and witness the destruction and total garbage of the school system, that like I was scared for parents, like this is where you're putting your kids all day and they're trading time. And we learned, what does the Buddha say? Oh, the one thing is you think you have time, right? So, and they teach you like to waste time. So I was always upset, and I was always disrupting, and I was always, the worst teachers are in the worst schools because no one wants to go there, but I wanted to go there, and I was thrilled to be there. And my master's was behavior modification. So it was literally stimulus response. All I did was chart people's behavior. Like, this happens, you do this before, then this happens. So intervention baseline, just like Joe Dispenza of Create Your Reality, of Bruce Lipton, Belief of Biology, right? Something happens and then this happens. So there's always a cause first, and then how to cause an effect. Don't be at the result of the cause and the effect, cause the effect.
Yeah.
So how to get them to cause the effect. So then I just got my life deepened into early childhood development. My master's was putting higher order thinking in the early childhood years. I guess because of my detailed mind, I saw the littlest things because of the behavior, and I'd see the little things kids would do. And I just always saw the details. And I got very clear that the details are everything. And then the foundation is everything. And how kids start is everything. And then everything is everything and nothing, right? So it's like, how do you play with that surrender and hold on and make everything nothing and nothing everything, so you can be intentional with what matters most to you.
Right.
So then I taught fitness after school because it wasn't a good living. And every day I was a fitness instructor, and I sucked. I come from total adversity where I was like last around the track, had to go again. And I hated being last, and it was terrible. And I was embarrassed because they'd say last around and it would be me. And I would be like, oh, I got to do it again. But I had my mouth and I'd say, that's so stupid. Why would you make the last round? Go again. And it was terrible, but I hated being last. So it's like, we make these decisions when we're young, right? And we file it in the future. You said you did Landmark, right?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
So Landmark, it teaches you that whole concept that your future is giving you who you're being in the present. So we make these decisions when we're children, like, I'm never going to love something again. I'm never going to be last again. I'm never going to do this, right? So in the world of NLP training and the way behavior, we tell people to move towards something. Like the secret is ask, receive, believe, and say what you want, not what you don't want, right? We all hear that. Ask for what you want. Don't say what you don't want. But when you grow from adversity, like Oprah, like anyone that's famous that says, I dropped out of school and I'm a billionaire, all of that. They grow from adversity. They went from not what they want. They went from what they don't want. So growing out of adversity is a decision of, I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be that, right? So I didn't have any role models to say what I did want to be like. I didn't know what I wanted to be like, other than I thought women in gyms were so beautiful and so strong, and I love strong. Yeah. Right. But a kid is always going to love what they feel like they're lacking. So I felt like I was lacking strength in my house. So I was a move away from. So I was constantly like, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be that. I don't know. So my whole life was built off traumatic workouts, right? Because you're like, oh my God, you're going to be fat. Oh my God, you're going to be homeless. Oh my God, you're going to die. And like, what makes a champion? And then what makes you the hero of your own life? So I went on to own these boxing gyms, which was totally God qualifies the called, because I was teaching boxing in the prisons and the lockdowns without knowing what boxing was, because that was my secret sauce of getting kids anti-bully confidence. Confidence is everything. When you're confident, you can do anything. So I cheer everyone up. I give everyone energy, then they can do more. So I would always make the kids feel good. And then when it was time to fight, I'd say one-on-one. I literally would facilitate it, move the chairs. So it was serendipitous and beautiful that when I met my ex-husband in a club, he was doing the door. I was going to teaching. He was coming home. So he was going to do a bowling alley, an English pub, or a boxing gym. And I just heard gym. I didn't even know what boxing was. I just thought it was like fighters, and nothing that I knew that I was doing in the schools to create this magic. So I said, oh, gym, I'm in fitness. I teach every day after school. And then there went my life. So 25 years of being able to meld what God qualifies the called, of me bringing in schools and kids. And, and then I did so much personal development, and I quit teaching, and we had 4 gyms. And then I ran all these school programs, and I ran like, if I ruled the world, right? Like my school, right? And it'd be like school according to me, and how everybody learns and how happy is generated and facilitated. And I really create and generate the most magical environment for 25 years. And it's in the inclusion and in the sharing and in the recognizing that everybody plays a role and that everyone can do it. And I see what people are thinking. So I say, oh, you're not having a good day, or I see, how was your day? Or I know what to say to someone, and you make or break someone. Sure. So people don't realize that, and everyone wants to walk around so strong. But, there's a saying, I don't know what Buddha said it. Jay Shetty likes to say it, but it says, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm who I think you think I am. So everybody walks around life thinking they are who they think the other person thinks they are, which is ludicrous. It's just like when people work out, they learn like comparison steals your joy, and everything that's going on in your head is nothing that's true. Right. So it's like, how do we battle that meaning-making machine that's negative talk and banter into being kind to ourselves and motivating ourselves and knowing that when it is comparing, it's stealing our joy. So it's just steal your joy or have your joy. Right. It's a choice. So I got to have my life my way. So here's in 2007, I had a really messy divorce because it was in the economic crash and we had 4 gyms and really messy, and grateful for all my messes that are now my messages, because and you're smiling because you know that your message, your message. And when you're a teacher, you either sink or swim, right? You're either continue to be a teacher and you have to hold the torch because you're a good teacher, or you sink. So it's like, I had to go through these. I used to say I wanted to transform lives on the greatest scale possible. And then after my motorcycle accident, I was like, hold on, I need to re-manifest this thing. And now I say with grace and ease, because it's really hard to constantly transform your own life to transform the lives of others.
Yeah, right.
And not to say that I won't, but I might as well ask, right? If we're all manifestors, I might as well. And I'll have to say it has been way more graceful and way more with ease in the asking in the last 10, 15 years, in my learning, in my, like, it's so delicious to be at my age and be grateful that I am my age, because I always like feared, like when I hit 40, I was like 40, and now I'm coming up on 50 and I'm loving it because I'm tasting what true wisdom is, like to really have these lessons that I'm like, almost like I want to get older so I know more, because I need mastery. I need hours accumulated. I need time in the bucket. And it's beautiful to see past experiences that I could share and allow it to be a message for someone else and not charge me anymore. It doesn't dictate that future. I don't have those decisions that are like, I'm never doing this again, even though I'm never riding a motorcycle again, but things that I'm like, I'm never going to love again, or a man will always leave, or these decisions that we have that when we're younger and we make these decisions from childhood, and then you get to collapse it all. And then your world gets like, whoa, I really can make it up. Wow, I really am walking around with these limiting beliefs. Wow, every limiting belief is false. So you start to shake your own world. That's how I have the gyms and everything. And my books are, it just got published today, which is really good.
Congrats.
And that's the whole, thank you. That's the whole culmination where I feel like I'm bringing my life full circle, where I'm going back to educating and disrupting education and what true education is and how to be the champion of your own life. Like, who doesn't want to be the champion of their own life other than people that are in their own way and don't realize it's possible?
Yes. You said full circle, and that's exactly what I was thinking, is that you've taken this experience that we all have as children, where we file those things that we're never going to do, into the system where you're working with kids who are experiencing that, but maybe don't have any kind of outlet or guidance on how to express it. And then linked it to a way of expressing yourself through learning confidence and taking what you've learned, that mess, into messages. Phenomenal. Like, I've never heard that before. Beautiful. But like taking that and being able to say, okay, I'm going to take my own situations, because we all have our own shit. I'm not going to be afraid to share it. It's going to help someone else. And tying all of that together so beautifully. You have a gym. We came to your space. We come away with that. I mean, I have goosebumps. It's just such a huge overarching message of possibility. And I'm like a possibility and potential junkie. And I feel that in you too. Like, just point me in the right direction. Let's go. Let's do this. And whatever I have to shed to get there, and however I have to shed it, let's do it. And just the fact that you've been able to impact so many people in that way through all of your different teachings and trainings, and translate it in so many ways that people can understand in the way that they need to hear it. Phenomenal. And like, you just,
that's key. That's a good teacher, right? The problem with school is it's auditory. So Johnny sucks at school because he doesn't learn auditorily. And then I worked in the inner city, so we learn kinetically, and the kids got to learn tactily. They want to touch things and move things. And so I am very clear that, like, you don't even want the same burger as me. So your language is not my language. And, you know, I love studying little children, because when you have no language, you're limitless. Their imagination is amazing. I always work with parents who have little kids, and I say, instead of labeling the objects around your house and teaching them, the table, the chair, let them label it. Let them make up what it is. Maybe like this lady, she had her kids say the plane was a big car, and it is a big car. I mean, like a gigantic car, I think he said. And it's amazing where their imagination goes when it's not boxed into a word. And words are beautiful, but they're very limiting.
Oh,
and
yes.
They're powerful because they carry so much weight and they mean different things to different people. So like you said, when you say it in the way they need to hear it, I'm going to, if I say to you, if you say to me, let me see, then I know you're visual. So I'll verify it. I'll say, oh, did you want to look at this? And I'll start verifying things. And then you'll say, yeah. And then I start showing you things because now I already know. Now I want to be in your listening because it's about you. My speaking is for you, not for me. So that's what people don't realize. The speaking is for the listening. So the greatest skill anyone can learn in life outside of breath work, I'll say breath work, I'll have 2 skills, breathing and communication are the 2 greatest skills. I'm still working on the breath work for the rest of my life, but communication and breath work, you can never learn enough.
Yeah.
Breath is what brought you in the world and what's taking you out, and you can heal yourself from anything through the breath. And it's annoying. That's the limiting part, that we say it in one word and it's a world of learning. Like you can't master that ever. And communication. So how do you show up and speak your mind and be powerful and not be, offensive or arrogant? Or how do you own your own power? How do you say what you want? How do you say no without offending people? How do you navigate?
And so I'm curious, how do you?
Did my NLP master practitioner license from Richard Bandler. And I'll have to say, my favorite line on earth is work harder on yourself than you do on your job and life becomes easier. And when I'm with my group coaching, I always say, like, what does that look like? Like, what did you do today to work on yourself? And I want to get them to get the magnitude of like how hard they work on their job and then how hard they work on their self and then what that looks like and how to intertwine it and then do habit stacking, that you're always working on yourself. And then what are you adding to and taking and signing up for that's going to make a difference? And what do you need to get to where you're going? And that's why my second book is 1,000 questions, right? So they need to ask these questions to get the better answers. So how do I? Meditation, breath work, and I did a lot of communication courses, but I'll have to give you one tip. The key to communicating the best, the gold in all my communication courses is in repeating people. And hence waiters got it, good waiters, because they repeat your order. So they tell you when they repeat your order, they don't leave anything out, because you could go ketchup. No, I didn't say ketchup. I said mustard. And then you go, oh, okay. And now they get it right. And now they're a happy customer. But you don't have to be like a parrot, even though it's called parroting. But you say, like, you could go, oh, I want blue and green with yellow. I'm like, oh, okay. You like blue, green, and yellow. Great. Is there anything else? So I just like add on. And I'm doing it in a way where I'm segueing, but I'm including you, because then you can do what you're doing and go, yes, I understand.
Yes,
or you can
yes.
go and you can make a face and go like that. And I'll be like, oh, that's not what you meant. So I'm just clarifying and verifying at all times when I'm talking to someone. So I'm dragging you into my world, but existing in yours so I can serve you. So I just want to serve you. I just want to know where you're at. So I'll say, tell me more about that. Or what did you mean by that? Or explain that. Or is this what you meant? So I'm always verifying. And then that's how you're honored. You got gotten, you're accepted, you're listened to, and now you feel trusted. It's like such a safe environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Creating a safe environment is such a huge overarching theme of all of this, is that people feel free to express who they are, but also feel free and safe to accept who others are. And by repeating and asking questions, that's such a great way to do that, because it's
the gold.
Yeah, it shows that I hear you, you hear me, you know that I hear you, and it's a respect.
All people want is to get gotten. That's it.
Yeah.
They just want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to know. That's the problem in relationships and communication. One person's saying, and they go, oh, well, she doesn't listen to me. And she goes, yes, I do listen to you. And he said, and then you would need to say, well, what would it look like if I listened to you?
Mm-hmm.
So he would go, whoa, okay. And then he'd go, well, if you listen to me, then you would sit down when you got home from work and you would show you're listening to me. And then you'd go, well, what would that look like for you? And he'd say, well, you'd sit next to me. Maybe touch is his love language. So it means like listening means your hand is on his leg. So, there's so many little details that make the world of difference that show that they're being gotten or you're being gotten, vice versa. Like you say, look at me when you talk to, and that became universal. So look at me when I talk to you. So that's like, everyone gets that. So now everyone looks at you, but there's so many other little things that someone's like, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Or you don't listen. Husbands and wives or couples and relationships are constantly, communication is the hugest thing. If someone's saying this, someone's saying this, he's like, only if when I got home, she would just not talk. And then she says, well, when I talk, he doesn't listen, right? So there's that disconnect. And then what's the space in between? My tattoo, moments between the notes create the space. So that's another point of repeating. I'm taking a space in between to not judge, assess, respond, think of the answer. There's like that space in between for you to be gotten. And for you to go, yes, that is what I meant. You could like almost like exhale. You're like, yes.
And then usually that's enough. And if there's a
enough.
conflict or if there's something that has been
fix it.
unresolved, like just knowing that you heard what I had to say and that you feel me, fixed it. It's resolved.
Well, that's another thing in relationships where you would ask, like, say you come home and he's like, whatever, he tells you something, and a lot of men say they don't want a solution, they just want to be heard. So you would ask, like, do you want me to just listen, or do you want a solution? And especially like us as coaches, you know, no husband wants their wife to be like coaching them. So you would say, do you want me to listen, or did you want my advice on this? And then you got to say it in a way that's serious, like whatever they say. And then if they say, I just want to be heard and I just want to listen, you say, okay, people got to get their shit out. Like in Landmark, before we start our day, we have to just ramble, and they go like this. Are you done? They didn't even care. They'd be like, are you done? And then you'd go, well, I got a flat tire. And then some people would just ramble, and you'd be like, okay, you done? They have to let you spill it all out. Because the secret says ask, receive, believe, but they screw up that whole secret that got so famous without telling you got to clear your space. And that was the whole premise of Landmark. Otherwise it's cherries on top of shit pie, because you're just ask, receive, believe. But if you don't clear your space, then creation comes from nothing, not something. So if it comes from something, then it's like the cherries on top of the shit pie.
Remove the shit pie first.
Remove the shit pie, you clear your space. So in Landmark, I didn't talk to my mom for 17 years. If you told me I was going to make up with my mom in the Landmark, I wouldn't have gone. And then I went right after I got divorced in that economic crash. Someone was like, go to Landmark. And I was like, okay. So I didn't even know, thank God. I walk in, and I have to clear my space with my mother. I had to clear, like, Mom, I had it that you were lazy and you were weak. And I'm so sorry that I labeled you as that, and then you had no way of showing up like that. And it was really like me taking responsibility for my view on her, right? I'm not who I think I am, I'm who I think you think I am. So I had to clear up all of that. And she ended up dying 2011 on my birthday, and it was beautiful. I know. Oh my God. And for me, it was so beautiful because I did the work. I sealed the deal. I left her with choice. We weren't talking. We didn't get along. As a matter of fact, I was so grateful that she had an aneurysm and God was good. And I was there by her side, and she couldn't scream at me. And she was so miserable living. So I feel like I gave her, like, she gave me life, and I gave her peace. And if I didn't do the work and I didn't get choice and I didn't leave her because she was such a screamer. And one day I was like, Mom, I would love to have a relationship with you, but if you're going to scream, we can't talk that day. So maybe later, or what, you decide. I'm here whenever you want. So that's another powerful thing in communication, leaving other people with choice. And then you get what you want. Like, these are my choices. These are my boundaries. This is what I'm willing to tolerate, because you get what you tolerate. So I said, and she said, no, I can't paint rainbows in the sky. So she chose to not talk to me, which had me go, okay, she made her choice, right? There's only so much I can do.
A little bit of freeing in that for you.
Huge freeing.
In a way that's like, we put our parents just on the parents conversation on a pedestal because they're our parents. They're not just people. They have a label. They're who we think they are, right?
I wish I put my mom on a pedestal. That would be something I should attain or acquire. I think I'm getting there to put her more on a pedestal.
Maybe not even in a good way, but almost in a way,
yes.
Like, what you expect from that person is different than what you expect from who you cross on the street.
Of course. And it's terrible. We're like entitled.
Right. And so then if we can start to like kind of remove that veil of that label, so not just the labels we put on ourselves, but on the other people around us, that especially the ones that we hold close, remove that veil of what that expectation is, and just let it be, kind of what you're saying, like, just see the person for who they are. Listen.
Well, I love how you said it back, like, remove the label and like really like the expectation of what they're supposed to be exactly, and without expectation.
Then that frees you, because like you said, you kind of said what you needed to, you brought that situation to where you felt free to express yourself and what you needed. And then it wasn't really about you at that point. It wasn't your decision to make. And you were able to hear her choice in a way that didn't damage you. It sounds like it empowered you to.
Yeah, that's the key, right? How to make nothing personal, everything personal. Nothing about you, everything about you, right? That space in between, that little space of balance in between, where of course it's about you and it's never about you, right? So that's another book. I think I told you that I was going to write a book called Front of the Hand, Back of the Hand, How to Get to the Space in Between. Yeah. So that'll come out eventually when I get to it. I do have the chapters, but it's unsure is sure. It's being satisfied with unsatisfied. I told this girl today, like, hate it till you love it. Like, because she said I hate celery juice, and she was flipped when I told her I was 50 this year. And she was like, what? And I'm like a white girl in the sun. And I said, it's celery juice. I drink all this celery. And she's like, holy shit. And I said, it's every little thing you do.
Yes. How you do anything.
How you do one thing is how you
everything.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not all the time. Yes. Yes.
It's like this conundrum of all of these, like, almost
they're all
idioms.
Conundrums. Exactly. Yeah. Because everything is nothing, right? You couldn't have nothing if you didn't have something. So life is a conundrum, because nothing wouldn't exist unless something was in the space, because you wouldn't know nothing unless there was something. Otherwise it would only be nothing. And then there would be no recognition of nothing for nothing. So life is a conundrum. That's why all of that. You know, in order to get more oxygen, it's the same thing. In order to get more oxygen, it's like you hold out. It's all about reserving the CO2, not getting the more oxygen. Everything is like the opposite you would think to get the balance. You inhale through the right, it's the left brain. You exhale through the left, it's the right brain. Everything is flipped.
They're all
that's the beauty of the surrender and the intentionality and the holding and the letting go.
And finding the space between.
Exactly.
Is what the goal is for everyone.
And
what
the
we're all
route
after.
To get there is breath and gratitude.
What does your breath work practice look like?
Well, every morning I wake up, I grab my headset and my eye mask right away. It's hanging on the side of my bed. So I don't do nothing. I don't look at my phone, nothing. Eye mask, headset, meditate. So I meditate 45 minutes to an hour, and then I do breath work for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I do different ones. Sometimes I do alternate nostril 4-4. It depends how I'm feeling. Like the other day I was feeling a little anxious, and I was like, Jolie, you have the tools, like use your breath work. You forget that something so simple is so magical. Like drink water, you know, it's like water, sun, rest, and breath are like the most magical things, and they're all in our fingertips, and we don't honor them. Yeah. So my breath work practice also looks like when I'm doing my celery, when I'm driving in my car, I do focus that I might do in for 4, out for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, the box breathing. I suck at the CO2 holds, maybe because I'm not a swimmer, but so now I'm trying to work on my lung capacity. So here I am researching how to get your lung capacity up without swimming. So I just started doing the Wim Hof ones, but the breath holds are too long. So I'm training myself to get used to it. Right. At night I do, I always have a morning routine and night routine. I'm doing a retreat. I think, you know, right? Christmas. You
mentioned about retreats and retreat spaces. So yes, let's definitely talk about that.
So I'm doing a retreat Christmas time, which is the best because it's New Year's, and so many people make New Year's resolutions, or they do things for New Year's and they spend money and they went out and got trashed. And for me, I own a real health club, like a real fire magical club, but it's healthy as opposed to like leaving a club and you're drained. So I will do eventually like travel destination, but this one I'm just starting here. I got a 5-acre property in the Redlands, and mine is more hands-on, where people will juice and will have their eye mask and will have their headset and will scrub their vegetables and will make their sea moss and will do shilajit and minerals, and we'll do breath work and do group coaching. But I'm very big on morning routines and night routines because it's not really, it is how you do one thing and how you do everything, but I want to say how you start. Like motivation is like almost the dumbest word ever because it's a byproduct. Motivation always comes after you do something, never before. Yeah, when you get results, you're motivated. When you do the work, you're motivated. When you have that future the past that you filed in your future, so it's so exciting that you're motivated because it's something out there. It's a byproduct. It's like the carrot hanging in front of you, so you get motivated for. So it's not like you're motivated. Imagine owning a gym for so long. I get everything like, oh, I don't commit. I'm like, you wipe your ass. It's like everyone's in their own way of, I don't commit, so I can't do it. So now your dream's not coming true. So now everything you came in to say you want is going in the garbage. Like people's words that we said are so limiting. They like really ruin them. So a retreat on mind, body, spirit of morning routines, night routines, breath work, meditation, starting your day, ending your day, and then the group coaching. So we'll do like what we're getting rid of from 2023, and it's New Year's. So we'll have a New Year's barbecue, and then what we're starting for 2024, and then what needs to change in our personal reality to change our personality, right? Everyone could go away on a trip. I've done every Tony Robbins that exists, and you go away and you're like, rah, 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 and you come back home, and 4 days later, you're back in your own reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to change your personal reality. So like James Clear for the Atomic Habits, he said, make it easy. Well, make it easy. They're all good ideas, but until you decide and put a line in the sand, it's not happening. Like if you go in my bedroom, it looks like 50 Shades of Gray. I got 80 billion balls and foam rollers and sticks and everything to get out of pain. And I made it easy and it was always there and everything's conducive, but it took me. It's like, what does it actually take to get started? And then that decision. And then I always had the mindset of, I can't meditate. And, that's why I love teaching people who say they can't meditate, because I was one of those that said, I can't meditate. And I also like to tell people, you don't have to do everything. Like some people go, oh, tell me about meditation. And I'm like, they might be the mellowest, calmest person ever. And then I'm like, pick something else to learn.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
There's only so much you need to learn. And if it's not something you need, I mean, everyone can do with it, but if you're like this peaceful, even keel person, like, I don't know, pick up dancing and get up. Like, it's like
move some energy.
Get your needs met. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the conversation of do it all and pick what you want. I have an and tattoo on my finger because that's another, people limit themselves and go, oh, I can't do that. I'm doing that. And you want to do it all. And then it's like, how do you do it all? So it's not do it all. Like I'm not doing what you're doing, what Greg's doing, what everyone's doing. I'm doing it all for me. How do I live fully self-expressed and be so fulfilled in every moment? So do it all for me. I won't go, oh, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Yeah. It's like, I get to do that. I want to do that. Fill a plate with those words, right? A lot of times I say, oh, I have to meditate. And then I correct myself, right? I have to meditate. I get to meditate. Like I'm sitting with source. That's a blessing.
Yes. Perspective is everything. And I love what you said about motivation is what happens after, because you never want to do anything until you do it. Like we meditate, we work out, we do all of the things, we eat right. I don't want to every time. And then I do it and I'm like, okay, great. That kind of reinforced why I do it. It kind of brings it back to purpose. It brings it back to how I feel and the result that I'm
and you're proud of yourself.
Yeah. And then
you're motivated.
That. But then tomorrow I might wake up and be like, I don't want to. And then it's like a rinse, repeat cycle. And it's just kind of having that mentality and the expectation that that's just probably how it's going to go forever. Like, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's not always going to be exactly what I want it to be. I'm not going to wake up and make it easy and everything just falls into place. I'm the one that has to take action. And I just love that that's kind of your approach to framing this for everyone, the people who come to your gym, your coaching clients, because it's real, everybody can say whatever
it's real. Exactly. Real is important. I have a sign on my door that says, accept it like you chose it. Like choose it like you chose it. So you said, oh, it's not always going to get perfect. Yes, it is perfect. This is perfect. For it. When I got divorced, it was always, it's perfect where I'm at and nowhere to get to. It's perfect where I'm at and nowhere to get to. Everything is like a butterfly flaps its wings in China and causes a tsunami. That's why I never wished to have a different mother, because if I had a different mother, I'd be a different human. So it's like, I choose everything in my life, everything, all of it, because I never know what's going to show up down the line that was integral. It's all part of the puzzle. So when you make a puzzle, you can't see the whole thing, but in the end, when you die, the whole thing will culminate and come together, however that is for you, yourself and you and God and source.
Yes. Because even saying, like, you took my words and said, everything is not going to be perfect, but back to the conundrum, like it's perfect not being perfect, and whatever this vision or expectation of perfect is that I have, that's been kind of conditioned into me. It's just,
isn't it crazy? Like it's
big,
crazy.
Yeah. Like these big thoughts, they make so much sense. It's so profound, but it's also so difficult to grasp. And
then it's like, why does knowing not make a difference? That's the most annoying concept. Like, and then it doesn't make a difference. And then what will make a difference, right? Practice is the mother of all skill. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the rules in my book. Practice, 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 and make things that are hard become easy. So, you have to do it till it becomes easy, because it is hard and it is all those conundrums, and we are constantly battling. And every day I really work on getting people's mindset, including my own, into knowing it's a whole new life. Like you have a whole new life. You got to brush your teeth again. You got to work out again. You got to generate yourself again. You got to have the morning routine again. Of course, every day I work out, I go again. Like, duh, it's 30 years. You'd think I'd get the point that it's again. Right. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, again. But every day I'm like, again, I got to suffer. And then I'm like, how do I wrap my head around like accepting that? It's like, you just got to accept it. And then, that's the journey you go through. Everywhere you go, there you are. So it's like, then I have that conversation. Everyone needs movement. Everyone needs to work out because of what you go through mentally of comparing yourself, telling yourself, calming yourself down, bringing yourself back, coaching yourself, right? In coaching, they say you can't coach yourself. And of course you can coach yourself. That's what personal development's all about.
Right.
You can't coach yourself on your blind spots and you're at where you are because that's as far as you can take yourself. So if you want to take yourself to a higher level, hire a coach and you coach yourself.
Right. We talk about the importance of hiring coaches just across the board. And there's so much information out there that you can seek out for yourself. But to your point, and I love the way that you say everything, it's so eloquent and so direct. But if I don't have the capacity,
that should be my tagline: eloquent and direct.
It's this beautiful balance of that. But like, if I'm limited in my capacity to go any further, I need a coach. But I may not know where my limits lie. So I need a coach. Like I need someone to bounce these ideas off of. So I just
100%.
love the way that you said that, because everyone
and people, athletes, star performers, champions, they have coaches.
That's
so it's
right.
just decide who you want to be.
Coaches have coaches.
Coaches
100%.
have coaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are always like, oh, you learn so much. Oh, you're always studying. I'm like, I tell you, I'm a teacher. Like, how do you think, where do you think the knowledge comes from? Like, obviously I am a crazy learner. People are always like, oh, you want to go here? You want to go there? I'm like, I am always like researching, always, always, always. I either at my gym or I'm researching, because how can I call myself a good teacher if I don't constantly work on myself?
So curiosity. I just like curiosity killed the cat is what we were told when we were little. Don't ask too many questions.
Isn't that exactly? And curiosity is, yeah, we were taught stupid shit. Don't speak unless spoken to. I'm like, I tell kids like that. I'm always like, I don't know who taught you that, but get rid of that.
We're taught what to think and not how to think. And when we start asking the questions of how and why, you can uncover so many things, not just in the world around you, but deeply within yourself.
Of course. And you know, God made us we always hear like, oh, you're perfect, whole and complete. And then we can go blah, blah, blah. What does that mean? Well, we were born without these words, with no words. And even you see a baby and they'll know when the mother's pregnant or when someone's dying, or they know weird shit that everyone thinks their baby's a psychic because they just came from the other world, but they don't have words. And then we put all that stuff that you just explained, and then we teach them all these different things. And then we say, oh, curiosity killed the cat. And we kill them. We kill their curiosity by telling them things like that.
Right.
So it's like, that's why I love Montessori and the concept of things like that, because how do you let people, our minds, what do they say? We use like this much of our mind, the potential. We are a pharmacy. We are electrical volts. Like when people die, you decombust, you like blow up. If you left someone, a human, there's so much voltage going through our body, and it's where we delegate our energy and how to conserve energy, right? It's all about your chi. You only have a certain amount of energy that you're here with. So where are we giving our energy? Where are we taking our energy? Where are we conserving our energy? All of that. Whose energy are we around? What is the energy we're being around? Everything is energy.
Well, and that's what came through so strongly in being in your gym. And I feel like an hour isn't long enough. We could go on and on and on, because there's so much to learn from each other and the way you say it and all of the things that we've talked about. But the main thing is we came away from your gym feeling the energy in a space that you and your team and your members have created by all showing up, by all connecting in that way, being vulnerable and being strong and listening and offering and sharing that space in a way that is so rich. And so we go on vacations and we try new things and we do these things. And we could have easily that morning woken up and said, man, let's just get our coffee and enjoy the view of the beach. We're on vacation. How often do you get to do this? But it was like, we've got to go. It will be awesome. And had no idea we would come away with so much more than just a good workout. So I can't thank you enough for like being who you are, not just on this show and not just sharing what you have in the last hour, but like being who you are every day and showing up authentically. Because if we all did that, if we all removed the mask, I feel like there would be so much more richness to our existence while we're here.
That's why I love teaching,
that's the
because
goal.
there is so much more richness in the space when you can allow people to be their great self.
Yes. Yes.
I thought it was really cool when we went to this class at your gym, and then you showed up and we're already doing our little warm-ups. And then the next thing I know, you're doing the class with us, and I'm like, this lady's awesome, so And then just the vibe of the place. And I feel like we've been doing the boxing style workouts, the HIIT cardio, and taking private lessons with our coach here in Sarasota for a year and a half, and been doing boxing classes longer than that. But what would you say to the people out there that maybe are too intimidated? Like, now we're in it, so it's like not a thing for us to look you up and come check it out. And it's we love doing it. But like, what would you say to that person that's like always thought about doing it, or they want to try something new? Because it is the most.
Well, I love that you asked this question, because I think it's a culmination of our whole conversation, which was conundrum, right? So it was all about like the opposite of what you think, and the opposite, or the little of this and that. And this is the other conundrum: seek and you find, and seek and you keep seeking. So sometimes you're with the seekers that keep seeking. And then you would think that about a boxing gym. You'd think people are fighting and they're mean and angry. It's the opposite. They went through the storm and came out on the other end, and a real boxing gym. So what I say for other people is find a real boxing gym, because they're the most welcoming, kindest. It's where kids go to save their lives. It's where everywhere you go, there you are. Like, do not be scared, because you're going to get all the juice out of it. It is scary though. You get punched in the face. So if you want to spar, not everyone has to spar, but I highly recommend everyone getting punched in the face at least once, because it's a safe environment, and you want to know if you're a sheep or a wolf, and you want to become a wolf, and how you're going to respond. But I have people that come in the gym all the time, and excuse me for anyone that gets upset at this, but I do want to smack them a little bit when they're like, I've been wanting to do this my whole life. I've been wanting to do this for 8 years. I just want to go, because I'm like, you just wasted your whole life. I'm like, I can't even believe you sit around, like, go do it. Like, what the hell is holding you back? Because I can almost guarantee if I pace them in their life for every time they said that and they actually went through and did it, what a better experience it was on the other end. And they'll be like, well, one time, well, so what? Not every flavor of ice cream is bad, but you wouldn't know the good ones unless you tried them. So you got to like try it. So, people just limit themselves, and they're in their own way. So people who want to like, like you said, they want to do it, but they don't want to do it. To really look at their life and see where else in their life they're doing that, and they're selling themselves out and not following through on things they want to do. And it's just limiting their life. So they just want to decide. Like I said, you make a line in the sand and you make a decision, and they make a decision and say, I'm not going to be like this anymore. I'm going to go, like, scary or not, and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And then be surprised that it wasn't what you thought.
And then that spills over to all the other areas of your life.
Oh my God, then you're bad at. Then the motivation kicks in. Then you're like, yeah, that was easy. That was the best.
Yeah.
You just have to jump. You're like, how do you jump off a diving board? You decide, you jump.
Yep. I love that question. I love that answer. And it reminds me, last year I turned 40. And last year, I feel like I did a lot of things that I maybe hadn't done. And my question always, and it is now kind of just part of the fabric of my being, it's what I asked Greg, it's what I ask our kids. If not now, then when? When are you going to do it if you don't decide to just do it now?
But you see, the thing that set you straight is a question. So I tell people to really have a question that shakes your world, where you're like, right, because you're never going to be in a different mindset, and you won't be stumped unless it's a question. Answers are in the question. That's what the Bible's about. So here you are, you came up with a better question, and now you have a better answer.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. All that. All that goodness. Well, where can we direct people to find more about you, about your books, about your coaching, your retreats, all of it?
So jolieglassman.com has everything. The retreat is so newly planned. Soon I'm going to have an application up, I think in the next week, on my website, on the retreat page. It's an application they fill out. They get an onboarding coaching call on the way in and on the way out, and the 3 nights and the 4 days. They go on my website. Everything is Jolie Glassman, my social media, my website, and then my books. You go on Amazon, Jolie Glassman, you find my books. It's 101 rules to being the champion of your life. Oh yeah, girl.
My ring light's making it glossy.
Well, it's funny. You have the rules of boxing. I changed the cover. Yours is because you came in the boxing gym, but so many people didn't want to read it. And then they'd read it and go, oh my God, because they thought boxing. So I reversed them. So this says 101 rules to being the champion of your life.
Love it.
So at least people are like, oh, okay, I'm going to be the champion. And then the next book is 1,000+ questions.
Yes. Congratulations on your newly published book. I will link all of your website, Instagram, all of that in the show notes. I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience. with us and our listeners.
I
So
love it.
thank
You guys are so much fun. You guys are the cutest. Thank you for having me on.